This is a Sports Catastrophe production.
Hey there, how there, ho there. It's Dec10 and welcome you to a Sports Catastrophe birthday boy. There is no on this day for December 10th. I apologize, but that's the way it goes. But anyway, this birthday boy is an active NFL quarterback. He's 26 years old, so he's just been off college in a bit. He actually played for Ohio State for a little bit and then transferred to LSU where he was a legend, bringing them a national title, the 2020 national title. But and was subsequently picked number one in the 2020 NFL Draft. He got to the finals last year and almost won the Super Bowl for the Bengals, but the Rams got them at the last second. He is pretty much my boy Bill Lang's second favorite quarterback other than Tom Brady. It's Joe Burrow. So Joe Burrow did his job. And in the 2020, the run to the 2022 final, the Super Bowl, he helped the Bengals end the longest active drought in the four major North American sports of winning a playoff game. Of course, in the NFL, you only get one chance to win a playoff game, whereas in the other three leagues, hockey, baseball, and basketball, you have a 4 out of 7 or 3 out of 5 sometimes. Anyway, Joe Burrow was born in Ames, Iowa in 1996, Iowa State Territory, if you will. Well, Burrow was born in Ames because his father was on the coaching staff of ISU. In fact, he has a good Burrow athletic lineage. His grandmother set a Mississippi State high school basketball record with 82 points in one game. His paternal grandfather played for Mississippi State in basketball, and his uncle John Burrow played for Ole Miss, and two brothers played for Nebraska. He actually was part of. He watched the 2002 Rose Bowl live when he was 5 years old because his father was assistant coach for Nebraska, and of course that was when Nebraska got their asses whooped by Miami in the national title game. So he was playing youth football leagues and all that. He attended high school and all that. And then he decided to go to Ohio State, May 2014. So he did what he could. So anyway, he redshirted his first year at Ohio State. So that meant he couldn't play for them, but he could attend practices and all that. He would be a backup for his first 2 seasons to JT Barrett. He played 10 games and threw for 287 yards. Burrow would transfer to LSU because he figured that with Dwayne Haskins coming in, he would be the starting quarterback at Ohio State, and Burrow would just be a career backup, if you will, in the college ranks. So he would transfer to LSU. He actually graduated from Ohio State in 3 years with a degree in Consumer and Family Financial Services, and would be eligible as a graduate transfer. Because of that, he didn't have to miss any time. He didn't have to miss a year because he transferred. So anyhow, in his first year at LSU, he was named the starting quarterback and shocked Auburn at Auburn Stadium, winning 22-21. He got LSU to the Fiesta Bowl against UCF and beat them, being number 6 in the year-end poll. Burrow would throw for almost 2,900 yards. Then, of course, he would be named LSU starting quarterback ahead of his senior season. Burrow would crush Georgia Southern and Define Powder in the Tiger season opener. However, in week 2, they went to Texas to play number 9 Texas Longhorns, and he threw for 471 yards, 4 touchdowns, and a pick. But they still won the game 38. In fact, those 471 yards are second most passing yards in history behind Rohan Davey. Yep. But anyway, he looked pretty good. In fact, by the 7th game of that 2019 season, he eclipsed the LSU single-season record for passing touchdowns in a year with 28. So anyway, LSU and Bama on November 9th was a huge one in 2019. LSU was number 2, Alabama was number 3. It was a shootout, but the LSU won 46-41. It was a good game. Good game by all. LSU would get their undefeated season beating Texas A&M. So in the SEC title game, he threw for 4 touchdowns, and LSU crushed Georgia in defiant powder 37-10. Burrow was given the 2019 Heisman Trophy winner, receiving 1,846 more points than Jalen Hurts, meaning that it was the largest Heisman Trophy margin in history. And after he spoke about the rampant poverty and food insecurity in his hometown. After his speech, the Athens County Food Bank got over $450,000 in donations. So he was doing his job. In LSU's semifinal in the college football playoff at the Peach Bowl in Atlanta against Oklahoma, he threw 7 touchdowns. 7. He threw for 7 touchdowns in the first half. Can you believe it? The NFL record is 7 touchdowns in one game, and that's for a game. So it's 8 total touchdowns were scored in the first 35 minutes. And basically, after the 35 minutes, they just gave Burrow a rest. He didn't play for the rest of the third quarter and also the fourth quarter. And it worked. They still won. So in the national title game, he crushed everyone to find powder against Clemson. He would throw for 5 passing touchdowns. LSU won 42-25 and got the national title. He had 60 passing touchdowns, which broke the record by Cole Brandon in 2006, who had 58. Of course, there's an asterisk because, they played an extra game. Like the playoff would be 2 games postseason, not 1. However, that record would be broken by Bailey Sapp, who played for Western Kentucky, getting 62 touchdowns, and is a New England Patriots backup quarterback. Thank you. So anyway, his 5,671 passing yards are now 4th in a Division I season, tied with Case Keenum. He was a legend for LSU, going 15-0. So he was picked first overall by the Bengals. Obviously, he was going to be first overall. I mean, frick. What? Since he needed it. And Burrow did it. He was considered the favorite to be the Offensive Rookie of the Year. He started on opening week. He did throw for 193 yards, but lost to the Chargers. Unfortunately, though, in Week 11 against Washington, he was hit low and tore his ACL and MCL in his left knee, meaning that he was gone for. However, the Bengals would keep him, and he rewarded them, putting up 525 yards against the Ravens in Week 16 of the 2021 season. In fact, it was the 4th most passing yards in a game in history by a quarterback, and beat Boomer Esiason's 521. And helped Cincy get their first winning season in 6 years. Burrow looked pretty good and all that, setting franchise records in the 2021 season of 4,611 yards, 34 passing touchdowns. The Bengals would face the Raiders in the wild card round, and Burrow helped the Bengals win 26-19, meaning that the Bengals, for the first time since 1990, over 3 decades, had won a playoff game. And then they went to Tennessee to take on the top-seeded Titans. Burrow threw for 348 yards, and the Bengals won 19-16, narrowly getting out of Tennessee for the win, and marking the first time the Bengals ever won a postseason game on the road. Burrow was sacked 9 times, but they still won. In the AFC title game against Kansas City, the Bengals were down 21-3, but won in overtime, pissing me off in the process. That 21-3 comeback is tied with the Colts record. Colts in 2007 for the largest deficit overcome in the conference championship, or the semifinals if you don't know much. But anyhow, the Bengals would get to Super Bowl 56. The first time since 1988 they were in the Super Bowl, trying to win their first Super Bowl as a team. Burrow did well, but was sacked 7 times, and the Rams won in the last possession, 23-20. He was sacked 19 times, Burrow was, despite getting the team to the Super Bowl. And that broke the record of 14 by Wade Wilson in 1987, despite the fact that Wade Wilson, for the Vikings, they were not supposed to win in New Orleans in the wildcard game, and they definitely weren't supposed to beat the Niners in San Francisco in the divisional round. Burrow put up a a 481-yard game against the Falcons this year. Obviously, his stats are inconclusive because, after all, the Bengals are still playing. So as of right now, as of this taping, he's 20-17-1 as a starting quarterback. Remember, he was 2-7-1 for the 2020 Bengals, but he got hurt. His passing numbers, 10,745, so he's now at the 10,000 mark. 72 touchdowns, 27 interceptions. Amazing. In the postseason, he's 3-1. You know, he threw for 5 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. He does have a lot of Bengal records. He actually does have 3 NFL records. Most completions by a rookie in a game, 37, which he did, 2020. Most times sacked in a postseason, and most yards lost on sacks in a postseason. Joe Burrow is an avid fan of Kid Cudi, Cudi. He likes playing chess. And Burrow spoke out on Instagram in favor of abortion rights in the United States. So anyway, yeah, Joe Cool is trying to get Cincy back to the playoffs and into a run for the Super Bowl. The Bengals' 0-3 mark is not the worst Super Bowl record by a team. The Bills and Vikings have been to 4 title games without getting it. So it doesn't matter what you think of Joe Burrow. He is Joe Cool after all. Anyway, I'm Jet Diamond. I do.